Welcome to Dark Character Profiler. Take a deep dive into the background and personalities of villains from books, video games, manga, and comics. Psychological analysis of some of the most deviant and heinous characters of all time. Now, here's Fulcrum.
Welcome back, Dark Disciples, to the hallowed and veiled rites of Dark Character Profiler. The black candles flicker unsteadily, the sigils pulse with unholy life, and the echoes of the abyss answer our call. Step beyond the threshold, surrender the light, and join us as we summon forth the chronicles of a spirit consumed by darkness. The invocation begins.
Dark Character Profiler.
There is an idea of a Patrick Bateman, some kind of abstraction, but there is no real me, only an entity, something illusory. And though I can hide my cold gaze, and you can shake my hand and feel flesh gripping yours, and maybe you can even sense our lifestyles are probably comparable, I simply am not there.
The idea of a Patrick Bateman is a core identity crisis. His whole being is a fabrication tailored to fit into the elite world of the vice president of an investment firm that he inhabits. His self-reference as an abstraction is a chilling admission that he has no authentic self, only a construct. His final line of, "I simply am not there," is terrifying in its existential hollowness. The line echoes themes of dissociation, narcissism, and emotional void. He only mimics humanity, not feeling or existing in any meaningful way. As a result, he is the unreliable narrator of his own story. The story, told from his perspective, is not entirely trustworthy, reliable, or credible. He has a distorted view of events. There are many contradictions and inconsistencies, exaggerations and embellishments, and as the narrator, he forces the audience to question the story's truth. Every monster has an origin. To understand Patrick Bateman, we have to go back to where it all began. His presumed name is Patrick Bateman. There is a theme of mistaken identity. Others constantly refer to Bateman by other names. Paul Allen calls him Marcus Halberstram, who's another employee at Pierce & Pierce. And his lawyer calls him Davis. Sometimes he corrects people and sometimes he doesn't. Most of his friends and even his fiancée refer to him as either Patrick or Bateman. His fiancée even asks why Paul Allen calls him Marcus at one point. Others, outside of his friends and fiancée, refer to Bateman as a loser, but are clearly not talking about the main character we know as Patrick Bateman. This gives the idea that Patrick Bateman is either an invention of the narrator or a metaphor for the emptiness of consumerism. Patrick is 27 years old. He comes from a wealthy and privileged background. He went to Harvard College and graduated from Harvard Business School. His father is a successful financier who owns part of Pierce & Pierce. Bateman is the vice president at Pierce & Pierce, a Wall Street investment banking firm. Although at one point when comparing business cards with colleagues, each business card also says VP at Pierce & Pierce. The whole business card ordeal makes him visibly upset, and Bateman has an internal monologue about how the other cards are better than his. He is part of the shallow, elitist circle of yuppie businessmen in New York. He regularly frequents expensive restaurants, nightclubs, and health clubs. On paper, Bateman's life was flawless: wealth, prestige, and privilege. But beneath the polish, the cracks were already forming. The question now is, who was he really? To answer that, we have to dissect the mind behind the mask. What drives Patrick Bateman? What lies beneath the surface of a man who feels nothing, yet does everything to appear human? Patrick Bateman's personality is very complicated. He's violent, sadistic, manipulative, deceptive. He's obsessed with control, dominance, and power. He often dissociates or detaches from reality. He engages in meaningless relationships with equally superficial people. And he is also known to take several prescription medications, including Xanax, Valium, and Halcyon, as well as recreational drugs such as cocaine. Now, let's dive into some comparisons to real life people. The first person that we will compare Patrick Bateman to is Ted Bundy, who was a serial killer. Both exhibit superficial charm and an attractive appearance. Personally, I don't see the attraction to Bundy. However, they are both intelligent, manipulative, and socially functional despite being sadistic murderers. They also both lack empathy and remorse. And much like Bundy, Bateman easily hides his monstrosity behind a polished, likable facade. The other person that we're going to compare Bateman to is another serial killer by the name of Ed Gein. Both display an obsession with control and dehumanization of victims. They also both show a psychological detachment from reality. Bateman's display of deep psychosis and a gruesome fantasy life shows a more refined version of Gein's madness. Bateman isn't just hollow, he's a mirror, reflecting everything we fear about a world obsessed with image, power, and control. But is this who he really is, or who he wants us to believe he is? Before we go further into the abyss, we offer our gratitude once again to the servers at Chico's Tex-Mex for their continued support, and to Peng for their suggestion of a previous episode on Handsome Jack from the Borderlands games. We also offer our gratitude to Rich Frazier at the Never Ending Radio Show for his suggestion for our future episode on Hannibal Lecter, which will air on May 27th. So stay tuned. Your devotion feeds the darkness. Now, let us continue the rite. Dark disciples, the signs have been cast, and the verdict of the void is clear. Three shadows rise in perfect balance: antisocial personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and delusional disorder, each claiming equal dominion over the circle. Close behind, the spirit of the other stirred, unnamed, unseen, yet no less potent. And in an eerie hush, schizophrenia was left untouched. No soul dared to summon its specter. Thus the ritual has spoken. Pride, deceit, and delusion entwine the path before us, and we shall walk it together into deeper darkness.
Dark character profile.
To separate truth from delusion, we have to take a look at the evidence. The murders, the contradictions, and the moments where reality begins to slip. The evidence against Bateman is going to be tricky as there are several layers that need to be considered. One, some of the murders were real and others were just fantasy. It's possible that he did kill some people, especially the more anonymous victims he encounters, like homeless people or sex workers. He likely fantasized or exaggerated other events. For instance, his emotional breakdown and confession via voicemail suggest guilt. However, it isn't taken seriously by his lawyer. And the surreal escalation of his killings, like shooting at police helicopters or blowing up cars with a pistol, seems intentionally cartoonish, a hint that reality is breaking down. Second, all the murders did happen. This is a less popular take, but here are the reasons why it might be possible. There is a suggestion that in a world full of apathy, narcissism, and superficiality, no one cares enough to notice or do anything about his crimes. The lack of consequences is not because he imagined it all, but because of his existence in a morally bankrupt society where everyone is too self absorbed to confront reality. So, what's the answer here? Well, there's really no definitive answer. How many confirmed kills does he really have? It's possible that he has none. How many probable kills? He may have a few, like the homeless man or some of the sex workers. Did he kill Paul Allen? It's doubtful based on the conflicting evidence. Bateman's lawyer even contradicts this theory, claiming that he even interacted on several occasions with Allen while in England. In the end, the evidence is as fragmented as Bateman's psyche. Bodies disappear, confessions are ignored, and reality bends under the weight of illusion. Every clue leads to another contradiction, making it nearly impossible to tell if Patrick Bateman is a killer, a fantasist, or both. What we're left with is a man lost in a world where truth doesn't matter, only perception does.
And now, the final analysis. But first, just a little house cleaning.
This podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only. While we use the DSM-5 as a framework to provide psychological analyses of fictional characters, the discussions are not intended to diagnose, treat, or provide professional mental health advice. The interpretations shared are based on hypothetical scenarios and creative exploration and should not be applied to actual individuals or situations. For mental health concerns or diagnoses, please consult a licensed professional. Listener discretion is advised.
Dark character profile.
We've traced the blood, studied the mask, and wandered the hallways of his fractured mind. Now, we bring it all together. This is the final analysis, the moment where truth, illusion, and madness converge. Patrick Bateman's final analysis was a little tricky. The two strongest analyses that came forward were antisocial personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder. The core traits for antisocial personality disorder are disregard for the rights of others, lack of empathy, manipulative behavior, and violent tendencies. Here are some examples. Bateman's possible acts of murder, torture, and emotional manipulation without remorse. He also behaves deceitfully, enjoys controlling others, and shows impulsivity. Within antisocial personality disorder, we may be able to also distinguish psychopathy, the core traits of which are obsessive thoughts and compulsive behaviors often related to cleanliness, order, or perfectionism. Some examples include Bateman exhibits a characteristic yet cold demeanor, easily manipulating others. His sadistic enjoyment of violence paired with emotional detachment as well. For narcissistic personality disorder, the core traits are grandiosity, a need for admiration, and a lack of empathy. Some examples that come forth here are Bateman is obsessed with his appearance, wealth, and status. He constantly seeks validation from others, frequently comparing himself to peers, and displays an inflated sense of self-importance. There are some other considerations, though, such as psychotic symptoms as part of a larger disorder. For example, we have narcissistic personality disorder with psychotic features, antisocial personality disorder with dissociation, or possibly even unspecified schizophrenia spectrum or other psychotic disorder. Patrick Bateman may never give us answers, only reflections. In the end, he is less a man and more a mirror, one that shows us the horror of emptiness wrapped in perfection. Whether killer, delusion, or cultural ghost, one truth remains. The darkness isn't just within him, it's around us too. The circle closes, dark disciples, and the echoes of the abyss fall silent once more. The tale has been woven, the soul laid bare, and the veil drawn tighter around us. Take these dark truths with you, guard them well, and await the next summons. Until the black hour returns, walk in the shadow unseen, and whisper not what you have seen.
Thank you for listening to Dark Character Profiler with Fulcrum. Listen every other Tuesday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Podcasts. Humanity was not meant to live this way. Society is left to the mercy of murderers and cutthroats. Hear Paige Zaplin Dam's epic tale brought to life in an audiobook. For years, Slade had felt secure in the forest. I am from simple, humble beginnings. I was raised in the Ironwood by an Ogress, an Anaral. He saw immediately that she was beyond a healer's aid. Even a skilled witch could not help her recover from losing so much blood. Mother? Slade thought he wanted revenge. Instead, he got redemption. A kingdom of ash and steam. The Ogress's Son. A dystopian neo-Dark Age fantasy. Narrated by Rich Fraser. Now available on iTunes and Audible. I promise you I will find whoever did this and avenge you, Mother.